Welcome back to my crazy video channel. The more I go down these rabbit holes of crazy videos that are coming out, the more I think we are being played about everything in life. I was looking on YouTube today and found a few more videos that seemed kinda crazy, but let me know what you think. Leave a comment what you think. Please like, share and subscribe to see my new videos and help my channel grow. I just want to say that this channel is for entertainment purposes only, and I would never harm myself. So if anything ever happens to me, well, you get what I mean. With that being said, here is the first crazy video I found that may be true.
I know everybody think everything is a conspiracy, although I told y'all 2 years ago, I showed y'all the report where the CIA created the term conspiracy theory for critical thinkers. It is just a weaponized term, and it is not a conspiracy that there likely is a Clonye and clones and skin mask and Jamie Foxx might be the next one. It's not a conspiracy that these things actually exist. So I'm just going to show you guys the difference between clones and skin masks that are going around, because the world is a stage and everything is not what you think it is.
Humans made to order, mothers giving birth to themselves, babies conceived just so their body parts can be transplanted. Come with me into the scary new world of cloning. The nightmarish stuff of science fiction has suddenly become a reality. Behind those walls, there are people with the technology, the ability and the desire to genetically engineer human embryos, to be the first in the world to successfully clone a human being.
Very pleased to announce that the first baby clone is born. She was born yesterday at 11:55 a.m. in the country where she was born. So this will not give you more details about the location. She's fine. We call her Eve.
Clonate is a private company. We founded that 4 years ago, got the funding to really have lab last August. And so now we have 3 scientists working almost full-time in a lab here in the United States with the major goal for us to produce a human embryo by human cloning.
My first gen was born in Jersey. However, I was cloned by Clonate in Canada. My model number is 0112568, if anyone wants to see the registration in Clonate. When I was cloned, they wiped a lot of memory, but when I stole the documents before escaping, I read that the mother was Puerto Rican and I guess the father, surrogate, you could say, was the sperm donor was the Sicilian.
I think you have my head on a stick. Oh my God. My son never looks at me. Oh my God.
Just me, or what is this creature that doesn't breathe and has fish gills or something weird?
Now, they say the truth is stranger than fiction, so share, duet, whatever before they take this down, because they don't want y'all to know about clones and skin masks yet, but it's revelation time.
This one is a tough one. There are a few compelling cases made in that video, and you know technology is only getting better every day. So I think it is possible for them to do this right in front of our face. But that is just my opinion. Let me know in the comments below if you think this is really going on. Let's move on to another video I found that talks about someone very well known, P. Diddy. I think we all can agree there is a lot of shady stuff surrounding this guy. Check out this video and let me know what you think.
Like, all the champagne was spiked. Everybody was passed the fuck out. I don't drink. Diddy had that man in the room. Look, yes, I put my ear to the door and I brought the phone because Diddy started going in over. I ain't know what the was going on, but I just heard balls slapping against cheeks.
Homeland Security agents converging on the home of Sean Diddy Combs.
But officials confirm the raid is tied to a investigation.
It's like a broken record with Diddy's situation, isn't it? Just when you think he's in hot water, he somehow manages to land himself in an even hotter mess. And with the recent revelations about the raid on his home, it's like he's jumped straight into the fire itself. It's surreal because, let's be real, Diddy's been one of the biggest power players in the entertainment world for ages. But here we are in 2024, and it's like the year of reckoning for the shady characters in the industry, as Cat Williams famously said. It's almost like Diddy might end up being the poster child for what happens when the skeletons in the closet come tumbling out. I mean, sure, Diddy's had his fair share of run-ins with trouble over the years, but this time feels different. The stakes seem higher, the scrutiny more intense. And just when you thought things couldn't get any wilder, now there's talk of a creepy audio leak allegedly showcasing Diddy's involvement in some unsettling rituals in his secret room. Buckle up, folks, because it looks like we're in for a bumpy ride. So, the aftermath of the raids on Diddy's home has revealed some startling discoveries, including the existence of a secret room reportedly used for unsavory activities. Also, according to the allegations in Lil Jones's filing, it's claimed that Diddy had hundreds of hidden cameras scattered throughout his mansion in Holmby Hills, Los Angeles, as well as in his compound on Star Island. Now, for many, this revelation might not come as a shock. The hip-hop scene has long been abuzz with tales of Diddy's extravagant parties and the existence of rooms where things happen that are best left unspoken. Some partygoers willingly joined in, while others, it's alleged, were coerced or forced into uncomfortable situations. The case of Cassie and numerous others who have accused Diddy of serious wrongdoing comes to mind. But now, with authorities reportedly stumbling upon these strange rooms within Diddy's residence, the question arises, does this serve as tangible evidence confirming the long-standing rumors surrounding him? I mean, it's a valid point to consider. If the stories swirling around Diddy and his alleged secret room were merely rumors, would a judge really have greenlit a raid on his home? It does seem rather improbable. These kinds of investigations have a way of uncovering unexpected and often unsettling truths, almost like opening a Pandora's box. And you're right, Diddy isn't exactly a stranger to controversy. In fact, he's arguably one of the most polarizing figures not just in the music world, but across the entire entertainment industry. They say where there's smoke, there's fire, and it looks like the flames of speculation surrounding Diddy are now being fanned by the presence of federal agents. Also, recently, Tonica Ray, a TV host and one-time backup singer for Diddy, said she had a horrific experience with the rapper that caused her to avoid him. Ray wrote in a social media post that she knew to avoid him at all costs. I just knew to avoid him at all costs. Yes, I danced for him and kept my space. I interviewed him for his projects and kept my space. Nothing that is happening is surprising, she wrote, according to Page 6. She then said she would not divulge what allegedly happened to her to avoid revisiting the trauma it caused. Now, turning our attention to the leaked audio, word on the street is that it allegedly features Diddy and Meek Mill engaging in activities of a sensitive nature. In Lil Rod's lawsuit, he also exposed Meek Mill and Usher as one of the people that often came to these freak-offs. Rodney didn't explicitly mention Meek Mill and Usher's names in the lawsuit like he did with everybody else, but he gave some descriptions that had very specific details that pretty much made everybody know who he was talking about. Like, he described Meek as a Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj, and described Usher as a male R&B singer who performed at the Super Bowl and had a successful Vegas residency.
This case is still going on and some big names are finally starting to come out. We will see how deep this rabbit hole will go. I think there are a lot of very rich and powerful people that should be worried right about now. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think this will seriously destroy some very popular people? Let's move on to the next video I came across. This one gives a very informative perspective on the story of the Titanic. I added this one because it seems a lot of people know the name, but not the hidden stories that surround this ship. Leave me a comment after you watch the video. I am curious how many people will be shocked after watching this.
Almost a century after it sank, the Titanic continues to fascinate us. Exhibitions of items lifted from the wreck, like this one in Manchester, attract tens of thousands of visitors. But now a new theory's emerged, which could turn everything we think we know about the disaster on its head. And if it's true, it'll mean that none of the items on display here even came from the Titanic at all.
There is something strange going on. And the more you look at it, the more convinced you become that there is, at least maybe we don't know quite what at the moment. We don't know quite what yet in the story, but there's something very, very strange going on.
There was no attempt made at all to save that ship. It's almost as if they wanted it to go to the bottom.
Could it be that the Titanic was switched with its sister ship, the Olympic, and that it was the Olympic which was sunk deliberately as part of the greatest insurance scam in history?
The Olympic becomes the Titanic becomes the Olympic. This is the most common form of marine fraud, even today.
The Olympic had been badly damaged in an accident. Was an insurance fraud the only way for the owners to get their money back?
What we're looking at, basically, is two ships which are exactly the same. To the average person in the street looking at them from a distance, they would simply have no idea which ship was which.
It was a midnight on the sea, the band is playing Jeremiah God.
Ends on the other side of the world, in Brisbane, Australia. And it begins with a tale told by a dying seaman called Paddy Fenton, known to everyone as Paddy the Pig.
He was a hard old man, you know, like he's one of the last windjammer seamen, you know. Paddy told me like he was the ordinary seaman on the Titanic, and that the iceberg did not cause the sinking of the ship and that there. What he said it was that they'd had a fire in the bunkers, and the fire had been burning since they loaded the bunkers.
Paddy's claim was bizarre and extraordinary. He said that as ice-cold water rushed in, it reacted with a bunker fire in the bowels of the ship to cause an explosion. It was this, rather than the initial collision with the iceberg, which sank Titanic. But Paddy had a second, even more astonishing claim.
Paddy Fenton did say that there were rumours among the crew that the ships had been switched, there was an insurance scam going on.
The logic was this. The Olympic was unusable and uninsurable because of its accident the year before. But if the ships were switched and insurers thought it was the Titanic which had sunk, then they'd be happy to pay up in full.
With the insurance scam, Paddy said that it was a big cover-up, because when they got back to port, the a company official came down with a man from the British government out there, took the crew aside and swore them all to secrecy under the Official Secrecy Act. I think the only reason Paddy was telling me is because he was getting old and that there, and I think he just wanted to clear his conscience. The thing that haunted him the most was the women and children, their screams.
Paddy's story seemed outlandish, absurd even, as you might expect from someone who walks around calling himself Paddy the Pig. But then, in 1985, came a discovery which would transform the study of the Titanic. On September the 1st that year, at 12:50 a.m, an American submersible in the North Atlantic began picking up strange images on its underwater cameras. Within minutes, the crew realized they'd made the greatest underwater discovery of the 20th century, the wreck of the Titanic. It lay 2.5 miles down and was broken into 3 pieces. And there, in the side of the ship, was a hole, just where Paddy the Pig said it would be.
The plating is pushed outwards. It's not where something's hit the ship. If it was iceberg damage, when the ship had struck something solid, the plating would have been pushed into the ship, not outwards.
The thing with Paddy the Pig is that unless you knew that that was true, you couldn't have made that up.
There is no way that Fenton could have known unless he was on the ship and saw an explosion.
Perhaps Paddy wasn't mad after all. Could his story actually be true? I decided to head off to the scene of the crime. I'm standing at the Harland and Wolff shipyard in Belfast, and it's on this exact spot that the Titanic and its sister ship, the Olympic, were built. Now, conspiracy theorists claim that the two ships were switched as part of a massive insurance scam. And if it's true, then the switch would have happened right here. The two ships were built side by side on giant gantries. They towered over the city. The Olympic was the older of the sisters, launched a full year before the Titanic in 1911.
The class leader of these ships was in fact Olympic. Very, very famous ship in her time, the biggest ship in the world, the largest man-made moving object on Earth. All the rest of it, that was all applied to Olympic. Titanic was the second of the class.
John Parkinson's father worked as a carpenter on both ships, and John is perhaps the last man alive to have seen the Titanic.
Oh, it was a wonderful, wonderful experience. See, I was just a wee boy, between 5 and 6 years of age when I saw it. My father brought me down here on a Sunday afternoon, and he took me round to see it. And there it was when I looked at it. I was afraid in case it would fall on me. It was so big, it seemed to reach the sky.
And what did the Olympic look like?
Oh, it was a lovely ship too. You'd hardly known the difference between the two. They were sisters, you see. Aye, very like each other.
Then John told me something that intrigued me.
Oh yes, there were rumours that the ships had been switched and all sorts of things. And
so this theory's been around for a very long time?
It has, yes.
Do you remember anyone saying it to you back in the old days?
Oh yes, you hear wee bits of rumours about that, you know. But that was a lot of nonsense. It was the Titanic.
It was clear the conspiracy theory was as old as the disaster itself. And although John was dismissive, I was curious. I wondered what secrets might lie hidden in Belfast.
And up there, Sean.
Jerry Anderson has his finger on the pulse of Northern Ireland. If I wanted to reach the people of Belfast, I knew he was my man.
Earlier on today, I mentioned the fact we're going to be talking about Titanic. I've got two gentlemen with me who are from a station, a TV station that is not the BBC, and they're making a programme about the Titanic. What's the crack?
Well, it's basically about Titanic conspiracy theories, and there's one main theory we're looking at, and that is that the Titanic wasn't the Titanic at all.
Right.
Now, you're looking at me like I might be a bit odd.
No, I know you look a bit, but that's neither here nor there.
I promise you there's more to it. Essentially, the Titanic, and I'm sure many of your listeners are aware of this, had a sister ship called the Olympic. And the people in charge came up with a plan, and that was to swap the Olympic with the Titanic.
All right, so the ideal thing for you would be if someone rang at this programme today and said, listen, funny enough, I remember my grandfather coming into me and saying, do you know what happened last night? I came out to work for the Titanic, and it was a different ship.
Exactly, yeah, no, that would be absolutely perfect. You know, I'm not pinning my hopes on it.
Absolutely. Someone on the line here already, I don't know who it is. Jim? Good morning, Jim.
Good morning.
Yes, Jim, have you any connection with the Titanic at all?
My partner's grandfather actually worked and built the Titanic. Basically, it wasn't Titanic, it sank.
It wasn't, did you say?
Yep.
Wow, how do you know that?
It's the Olympic, it sank. He swore on, I think, the sister ship.
Are you serious?
Yep. The White Star Line, there were financial difficulties, and that's the only way they could claim and get themselves back on track.
I mean, that seems to go with what I've been hearing. I was hearing that the White Star had some financial difficulties, especially with the Olympic, so they couldn't get any insurance money for the Olympic. So that's when the swap took place. Does that kind of fit with what?
Yes, it does.
Right.
This was becoming more intriguing by the minute.
Jack Johnson wanted to get on board. Captain, he says I ain't hauling no coal. Fancy Titanic, very well.
If the Titanic and the Olympic were switched, then the trail of events which led to the disaster began here in Southampton on September 20th, 1911, with a collision between the Olympic and the Royal Navy cruiser HMS Hawke.
The problem White Star had with the Olympic kept hitting things.
The Olympic is pulling out of Southampton. It's on its way to America. And HMS Hawke is a faster ship. It's passing on the starboard side, on the right-hand side.
The two ships found themselves on a converging course, and neither was able to evade.
I hope that video was an eye-opener for people who do not understand the level that we are being lied to. Be sure to question everything in life, especially what you're being told by fake news organizations and elites who are trying to control every aspect of your life. That is going to be it for this episode of Crazy Videos That May Be True. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to see new videos and help grow my channel. See you in the next episode.